Worksheet 35.2 review for Algebra 2, number 31 is the one I'm going to look at here. We're asked to create an accurate graph of each equation and state all pertinent information. And we look at this equation. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. Since there's a minus sign, since there's subtraction, that right off the bat tells me it's a hyperbola. So we'll start by finding the center. The x-coordinate comes from this x, and since there's no parentheses, that x-coordinate will be 0. The y-coordinate comes from these parentheses. The opposite of minus 1 is positive 1. So our center is going to be at 0 and positive 1 right there. The vertices we'll have to determine, we'll have to start graphing before we get the vertices, and although we can probably do the asymptotes, that's a bit easy. Now, since the y is first in the equation, that tells me that the parabolas, when we eventually graph those two parabolas to make the hyperbola, are going to go up and down, which is vertical. Underneath the y, we see a 9. The square root of the 9 is 3, which means we're going to go up 3 from this point. 1, 2, 3. And then down 3. 1, 2, 3. And before I even graph the rest of it, since we know it's vertical, that tells me that eventually the parabolas are going to go through, start with those 2 points. Those two will be the vertices of the parabolas. The coordinates here are 3 up from the center, which would be 0 and 4. 3 down, which is 0 and negative 2. There's the coordinates for 0, negative 2, 0, positive 4. Now for the other points to make the box, the square root of this 16 is 4. So I'm going to go left 4 from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. And right 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that I've got those 4 points, I can go ahead and draw the box. I can draw the asymptotes going through the middle to make the x. And I'm almost done. Actually, with the graph, I'm just about done. Remember that I mentioned that these two are your vertices, so the parabolas will open up upwards and downward, staying inside all those dotted lines. So the last thing I have to state here is the slopes of the asymptotes. Now remember that when I did the square root of 9, the square root of 16, that told me how far to go for the box. This is your vertical rise. That's your rise. Your run left and right was 4. So the rise over 1 would be 3/4, 3 over 4. And one of the asymptotes is positive, one is a negative, which means we should have the plus minus in front of that slope 3/4.